Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Omega and Speer's Germany. So in the last episode we have unified the fractured country, and now all that's left is Verkreis Verkreis 19, I always make this mistake, and Germania, which is called the Schutzzone Germania. And after that, we'll have to look out to our previous commissariats and allied nations. We've lost many of those, but some of them are still holding out, like the Reichskommissariat Caucasian, Reichskommissariat Ukraine, we have the African Reichskommissariats, and then there's a lot of territories in Russia that formed that we might need to subjugate again. Some of you actually mentioned that already on the last episode, that now comes the time when we are going to reintegrate the previously lost territories. So, let's start. Nothing really happened after the unification, so I guess that we're going to get an event now that's going to do this for us. I'm going to unpause the game, see how it's going to be handled. But this is probably going to be a transitional episode where we are going to look at the new nation, the new focuses, and new events, stuff like that. You know, the usual. But yeah, the Civil War is behind us. By the way, I still do not know how we managed to blitz them so, because, I mean, our units were good, and there were lacking equipment, but the bonuses that we got were ridiculous. I actually think that, I have a theory, that the bonuses actually might have come from the support that we received from the event, because it did not specify that we were getting any equipment, but we might have piled on some kind of hidden bonuses that made our units stronger. That's a theory. Well, we'll see. So what do we have here? Katowice captured. The first shots fired in the Battle of Katowice were not heavy rattling of machine guns, the quick snaps of assault rifles, nor the booming of artillery fire, or even a shot in Katowice itself. They were precious shots from what was thought to be elite snipers on the outskirts of the city. After hours of constant harassment, one of the culprits was finally shot as he shifted positions after his latest kills. It was no elite hair sniper, or even a veteran of the Great War. It was a boy, no older than 15, wearing a Hitlerjugend uniform. Heavy fighting started up after the attackers finally entered the city. Artillery crews drank heavily as they launched their ordnance. Most of the snipers had turned out to be Boy Scouts, ranging in age from as old as 17 to 11. And every call for sniper suppression was more often than not a death sentence handed out to German children. Oh god. It would later be discovered that the local youth leaders were mostly hardcore supporters of Göring, who had called upon their members to fight for the true future of Germany and save our homes from the rapists and looters. Currently, the new owners of Katowice are too busy keeping their heads down and methodically combing the ruins for snipers to do much of either. Morale plummets lower and lower as the body count continues to climb. Oh god. What about those fanatics? Let them starve, they aren't going anywhere. Do we... Well, okay, it's gonna give us a bit of a stability. Speidel surrenders. There was some tension in war-torn Germany while Speer's supporters and the populace of Germania both awaited news of whether or not Speidel would allow his entrance into the city. That's about Germania, right? Yeah, Hans Speidel. A collective sigh of relief answered, however, when it was announced that Speidel and Rommel's men would not protest Speer's entrance into the city and gave the soldiers guarding it their first stand-down order since the war had begun. Soon, Speer will ride into the Reichstag personally to announce his victory, and celebrations have already broken out across Germania as cheering crowds have mingled with the final off-duty soldiers, lifting them on shoulders to every pub and beer hall in the city. While the war hasn't spared Germania completely and supplies are scarce, it seems that the people have enough spare to truly celebrate the occasion. So 3 cheers, hurrah! Developer's note. If after this event you are unable to select or assign any unit, simply save and reload your game and the issue will be resolved. This is a base game bug sometimes caused by tag switching, and we can't really do anything about it until Paradox fixes the issue in a future patch. Shoots Zone Germania gets event and Old Fox with no more tricks. Oh, okay. And it seemed like the game has ended itself, but it didn't. Okay, so we're back. Gross Germanisches Reich is back. And it should be led by no other than Albert Speer. Is it? No, that's the old description. Okay, so he's giving us political power gain plus 10%. Do we see anything as far as politics go? Okay, so who do we have? The head of government now is Kurt Georg Kaisinger. Daily political power gain 0.15, stability plus 5%, acceptance of National Socialist diplomacy plus 10, and fascist diplomacy plus 25, right-wing populism. Kurt Georg Kaisinger was once a successful lawyer, being offered a highly respectable position in both the Chamber Court of Berlin and the Nationalsozialistische Rechtswahrerbund, but turning them down in favor of remaining an independent actor within the profession. When the war began, Kaisinger joined the foreign ministry to avoid being drafted into combat, eventually finding a position within the broadcasting arm. However, Kaisinger eventually came under suspicion for hampering anti-Jewish activities. While he was never found guilty, it is widely considered to be one of the main reasons Kaisinger left his position after the war, returning to work as a lawyer. As the dysfunctionality of the Reich became more apparent, however, Kaisinger found himself drawn towards politics, where he began to preach the need for reform if the Reich were to survive. Dubbed Silver Tongue Kaisinger for his incredibly persuasive oration, Kaisinger was eventually approached by Albert Speer and became part of his Gang of Four, taking upon himself the mantle of the second most powerful man in the Speerite movement. The mouth of the reformist movement, Kaisinger is not often found far from its head, Speer himself. When Speer's ideas, or the ideas of any of the Gang of Four, are questioned, it is often Kaisinger who manages to smooth the tensions, effortlessly persuading doubters of the necessity of Speer's reforms. Silvertongue holds little love for the NSDAP, but as anyone who heard his speeches could tell you, he cares greatly for the German nation. Okay, then we have Ministers Schmidt, Erhard, and Treschow, the three members of the Gang of Four. So Helmut Schmidt lowers daily political power gain by 0.2. So he negates this bonus. Oh wow, we're actually getting a huge mouse. Yeah, 0.74 here. Okay. Trade opinion factor increased. Acceptance of conservative, liberal, and progressive diplomacy plus 50. Okay. Reichsminister des Auswärtigen. Coming from a less than certain familiar background and a less than glamorous career, Helmut Schmidt is a relative newcomer to the political scene. In his childhood, Schmidt served as a leader for the Hitler Youth until he was removed from the position for expressing sentiments believed to be against the party. He served in the Luftwaffe during the war, both as an administrator and later in combat on the Eastern Front. So it's a veteran. After the war, Schmidt returned to his home city of Hamburg, receiving degrees in both economics and political science from the local university. He began to speak against the German Reich and their policies, though never so brazenly as to attract attention of the NSDAP. Somehow, Schmidt seemed to have attracted the attention of Albert Speer, who courted him to join the Speerite faction of the Nazi Party. Schmidt always refused these entreatments by Speer, both out of genuine disgust held for the Nazi Party and ideology, and because he feared that the NSDAP would uncover his most closely kept secret. What would be the secret? With the outbreak of the German Civil War, however, Schmidt joined the organization in exchange for the position of foreign minister in Speer's government. Not as politically connected as Kaisinger, nor as technically skilled as Treschow or Erhard, Schmidt is something of a dark horse among the gang's members. Some believe he only reached his position due to Speer holding personal affection for the man, Though he holds undeniable political acumen, the young firebrand clearly holds a great passion for his ideals, though it remains to see how much of his vision will come to pass. It doesn't say what secret he has. I think we're gonna be confronted with that down the line, I'm pretty sure. Ludwig Erhard, so he gives us extra resource gain efficiency, lowers our recruitable population though, but construction speed increased and consumer gain. Oh, consumer goods need is lowered by 7%. That's massive. A wounded veteran during the First World War, Ludwig Erhard became a name in the business world when he joined the ECGFGI, a market research institute, and quickly rose to become deputy director. During the Second World War, however, he was the subject of controversy when he published a paper claiming that, although the Germans would win the war, the Reich's economy would disintegrate within a decade. Because of this paper, he was fired from his job, only to be proven right during the German economic collapse. Nowadays, Erhard is one of Germany's most important economists and one of the most ill-mannered bureaucrats. Erhard is a strong advocate of ordoliberalism. Never heard that before. A school of economic thought calling for no price controls and low taxation, believing that this will permit a free market to operate at its potential best. Naturally, this idea very different from the Reich's current model of economics, though. Naturally, this idea very different from is widely despised by many officials within the Reich's economic ministries. Erhard, despite this, has been unwilling to settle for the status quo and calls for sweeping change within the German market. Because of these strict calls for change and liberalization, Erhard has become a core member of the Gang of Four, a group of reformers that consist of Albert Speer's closest advisors, known for his extraordinary stubbornness, brashness, and immediate dismissal of any sort of compromise on his bold plans. Erhard leads Speer's plans for economic reform. Erhard will attempt to bring a new age of financial prosperity and wealth to Germany, even if he must drag the Reich there kicking and screaming. Okay, I like this guy. And Henning von Tresckow, division organization plus 10%, recovery rate plus 5%, training time increased as well. Chef der Oberkommandos der Wehrmacht. Henning von Tresckow, called the Last Prussian, is a well-known and well-regarded commander in the Wehrmacht. Born to a family of nobles in Brandenburg, von Tresckow intended to continue his family's proud military history and fought in the Great War. After the war's loss, von Tresckow supported the Nazi movement, believing it to be the only way Germany would restore its territorial losses after the Treaty of Versailles. This idealism was shattered during the Night of Long Knives, however, and von Tresckow began to feel a strong hatred towards the NSDAP, something that only increased during the Reich's later actions. Despite this, however, von Tresckow served admirably in the Second World War, leading numerous operations on the Eastern Front that some mark as vital to Bukharin's collapse and the victory of the Reich. During the war, Tresckow was reportedly known to meet with several individuals who would later be executed or arrested for conspiracy against the Reich and Führer. Von Tresckow himself, however, was never implicated in any of these crimes, so these meetings were quietly swept under the rug. A man of discipline and Prussian gentility, von Tresckow strongly despises the politicization of the armed forces and the extrajudicial hellscape he believes the Reich has become. Surprisingly, Tresckow's highly conservative Prussian mannerism have led him to become one of the army's leading voices for reform. Albert Speer has welcomed von Tresckow into his circle of ministers, and the old soldier has gladly taken a chance to restore the parts of Germany's golden days that he feels the Nazis have discarded, even if he despises that he must enter politics to do it. This is actually one of the things. Wehrmacht was being brutalized by the NSDAP, and many of the generals during the war felt that their performance was greatly hindered by the intervention of Hitler and other politicians, and they felt really bad about the fact that they had to collaborate with SS, and they wanted Wehrmacht to be the hand of the German people, but they didn't want that hand to be directly linked to a certain political agenda. So I understand where he comes from. I actually think, and I have a lingering thing, I have to look into this, but if anyone can link Tresckow's bio on Wikipedia under this video, I would be glad. I need to check it after recording. Pardon me. But I think Tresckow was held in England as a POV. I don't know why I have that feeling. I might be mistaken. Or he was taken as a POV by Russians. I don't know what happened to him in the real world. So if anyone can link that, I would be grateful, because I will forget in a couple of minutes that I wanted to do that. Anyway, is there any change in the political secularism, huh? Skilled labor only, state controlled, forced labor institution. Yeah, I think everything stayed the same. And we can't change it either. Yeah, encourage brutality, no changes, broaden conscription. So things stayed the same. That is, good and bad at the same time. We have new national focuses, and a lot of those, actually. So what do we have here? We have actually two. We have the Doppeldenken. So this is the Nürnberger made for the present, promises for the future to all who fought. So this one is about the internal things of Germany. Okay, the Erhard plan, the Schmidt's proposal. Are these mutually exclusive? No, they're not. Okay. We are not alone. Enemy of my enemy leads to a moment in time and ends with Das Schwert des Damokles. Okay. And the other one, Der Krieg im Süden, the war in the south. The Reichskommissariat. Oh, okay. So this deals with the war in Africa. Okay. Do we have it? Okay, so here we have events. The state of the Reich. The regime currently leans to being conservative. Somewhat conservative. Okay. State propaganda. Political power. We can increase political power by 20, granting the following prospect. 0.5 political power growth. And budget, weaker stability growth, and regime leaning tick. Okay, so we need to do this and invest in it so that we... Regime alignment leans. Social outlook. Is this... percent of social outlook. Okay, so we're conservative and this would be the social. Determines where regime leaning ticks towards and is marked on the speedometer. Okay. Regime stability 53.8%. Regime stability is paramount for the longevity of the Führer's government. It is effective by controversial decisions, including conservative or reformist actions, when the social outlook is at their respective opposite, as well as the national stability, which it ticks towards. Should regime stability fall below 40%, the government may collapse. Okay. Social outlook is conservative. The outlook is regressing. Okay. Social outlook is a measure of the German people's views in the world, depending on the factors including economic reforms, regime leaning, and more. It will change over time should the government's leaning be opposite to it. Regime stability will begin to drop. Okay, policies are balanced. Economic policy is a measurement of our current economic policy based on our actions. Gotcha. Keeping our economic policy balanced or consistent will ensure continued economic growth, while having erratic economic policy will affect our national debt, inflation, and GDP growth negatively. Gotcha. So you can hold a speech here, which will increase stability of our regime, token political promises. Our regime stability will increase. We get, okay, so we spend 15 power, but we will get 10 power back after 7 days. Or we can go with vast political promises, which will increase regime stability by 10%, give support for National Socialism and paternalism, but when it's removed, the stability will take a tank. Okay, so this one doesn't seem like a good one. That's like an emergency solution. But this one doesn't, so I think we can hold a speech and give token political promises. That should increase our regime stability by... Yep, that increased already by 5, and we'll get additional. And can I campaign in pawning? Let's put political power. I don't know how much that takes. If it's weekly or monthly, we'll have to see. Charge reactionaries with treason. Prerequisites. More than 10% support has completed the Sondergericht. The regime stability will decrease, but we get weekly stability back. And when it's done, okay. So this is a long-term help. Show pact-related decisions. The Dutch problem, the status of Denmark, Heim ins Reich, Böhmen und Möhren. For over 2 decades, the economic and political situation of the German Reich has seen Bohemia and Moravia stand firmly to the side as a loyal protectorate. The chaotic upheaval of the Bürgerkrieg has blasted the winds of change throughout much of Europe, and now the time has come to rethink its current status. So at this point they are independent, aren't they? Yeah, so we need to reintegrate Bohemia, my beautiful country. So let's take that one. And there's also the Dutch problem and the status of Denmark. Yeah, they are both... Yeah, they both became independent basically once we broke out, so now we need to reintegrate them. Considering the war in the south is happening, I have a feeling we ought to start with that and deal with it while we can. The Reichskommissariats in Africa are in chaos. War that erupted after Reichskommissar Hans Hüttig of Ost Africa decided to back the Boers in their quest for independence. We can't risk a war against the United States, but there's still something we can do. On one hand, we can send troops and supplies to our colonial authorities, citing the need for improved security. Since this is within our right as a sovereign nation, the Americana won't be able to protest. Should we win, it would give us great prestige and hit our competitors harshly, though our people might protest for the waste of resources and human lives. On the other hand, we can make sure the war stalls long enough to allow us to extract all of our personnel, material, and, even more important, money. By draining our colonies of all they have of worth, we'll cut our losses significantly. This would mean de facto surrendering to the Americans, but it will save both lives and money. No, we are not going to do that. We are going to protect. Okay, research is continuing, that's fine. Economy. Oh god, yeah. We accrued the debt of probably everyone, or the GDP has dropped. So, debt to GDP is now 112.7%, so it increased. Yeah, you can see that it was dropping below 100%, but now it jumped up. And our credit ranking has been decreased. But it's increasing again, so we'll have to survive that. We have a huge surplus of 7.6% of GDP, but our economy is not growing at all. I think that needs to reset, so we'll have to give it a bit of time. We are constructing again, okay. We'll need to repair the damage after the World War. Okay, military factories are again gone. Gotcha. Okay, so we need to add stuff in there. So let me see, we're gonna produce everything because we want to build a new large army. So for now I'm gonna focus on getting stuff done. Come on, so. Okay, so we need, okay, we need support equipment. We need artillery. Do we have basic anti-air? I think we do. So let's put it there. So we're gonna start producing support equipment again. Basic artillery, okay. Basic anti-air. Okay, and what else do we have here? Helicopters. Gotcha. So we don't have those. So improved attack helicopters, improved transport helicopters, and Improved scout helicopters. Let's put those where they belong. Which is here. This is going to be a mess dealing with it. Oh god. Yeah, it keeps assigning stuff to that area. That we don't really need that. Okay, we're producing the tanks. That's a medium battle tank. We need to start producing APCs and armored cars. I don't think we need the AFVs, but we can put them into production. Sure, let's put you up like this. We'll have to reassign the factories after this. AFV, what's soft attack, hard attack? Let's put you there, just for good measure. I don't know if we have enough factories for, you know, reasonable production of everything anyway. What do we have to see? Improve the heavy tank, improved APC. Those are just... Yeah, I'll need to clean this. I'll clean it in between episodes because this is a bit of a mess. So we're producing jet, Kozar support, carrier, jet fighter, jet tactical, jet strategic. Are we producing transports? Actually, I haven't ever produced transports. Wait, is that a... I want to produce supply points, not transports. Strategic bombers, pipeline. Surface detection, sub-detection. We can put them up for construction. And jet fighter. We don't have a jet interceptor. Why are there two? 40. Yeah, I'll have to clean this. There is a mess. So I'll be doing this in between episodes because that's gonna take a while. Same with the army, because I expect that we have ton of unassigned units, so I'll have to reform the military. We will have to do stuff later. Okay, equipment wise, we are doing sort of poorly, so I'll reassign the factories as well. Anything else that we need to do here? What about this? Okay, we can continue with the upgrading. We have 2 agents now. Okay, gotcha. What is this? Der Zollverein. Skilled workforce. Click on the states for further interactions. Preußen. Middle class investment. Okay. Interesting. So we need to solidify our regions, and it shows us what we lost basically as well. So we'll need to focus on that. Credit rating degraded. That's true. Okay. Army command, the generals. Okay, and let's end this by distributing some of this excess army experience that we have. So land doctrines, we got to the spear points, and now we can get combined blitz. A Schwerpunkt attack with only armor is suicidal. That's true. And as they said in Black Ice, what was that word? A sufficiently motivated infantry can always destroy a tank in one-on-one combat. A Schwerpunkt attack with only infantry is doubly so. Well, of course. But combined, along with air support, these form into a nigh unstoppable force. Now combine the arms doctrine. It is of utmost importance that we improve coordination between all wings of our armed forces. Okay. So that gave us extra organization for tanks of +2. Extra recovery for tanks and armor of 0.1, and motorized and variants get 3 extra organization, and Nimbus tactic breakthrough. Damn, this one is massive. And we can get adaptive command or plant assault. So plant assault gives max planning, reinforce rate and max planning, and supply consumption. While you give organization. Okay. So adaptive command would be more in lines of the modern warfare, I think. The tides of war can be as unpredictable as those of a stormy sea, and we must train our officers to account for this reality. Soon, not even surprise and circumstance are acceptable excuses. Yep. Okay, and last but not least, air doctrine. So, air parity. The main goal of our Air Force would be to provide air support to units in the field. While our Air Force may not be the biggest. Okay, so this one is not for us. Air superiority. Our nation's airspace is our own, and we require Air Force that is fully capable of protecting the skies of our country. We'll maintain local dominance. Okay, so air supremacy. Oh, so this is like for major nations, middle players, and minors. Interesting. Our Air Force will completely control the skies, maintaining a degree of air superiority where the opposing Air Force will be incapable of effective interference. We must be able to provide air support to our military options around the globe and have a fully equipped long-range bomber fleet that can strike anytime, anywhere. Global force. To ensure control of any battlefield, our planes must be able to fight anywhere, strike anywhere, and give support anywhere we see fit. Our pilots will be trained to be ready at a moment's notice, making sure we are capable of rapid response. Mutually exclusive of air sovereignty and battlefield support. Got it. Okay, so we started the transition back into the force to be reckoned with. And in the next episode, I will come back with assigned divisions, probably fixed production queues, because this is going to be a mess. We need to start production of ships. Do we have any ships? Yeah, the Navy has died out. Air wings are back, though. That's good. So that's one thing that we need to deal with. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to start back on our track. And we will start reclaiming what is rightfully ours, because Speer is the new Führer.